choosing to opt out of the 2020 not fantasy football season, the 2020 NFL season. I don't really know why. I never looked it up. I don't think anybody really cared why Damien Williams opted out. They just were happy that he opted out because CEH, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, gets that opportunity. Let's go, dude.
I mean, we've both been high on Clyde all year. We were kind of backtracking a little bit because of like him not getting training camp reps and preseason reps and stuff because of coronavirus for all rookies. So that they might lean towards the veteran a little bit more.
I just want to draft rookies.
The veteran gone, Clyde is the guy there, and there is no competition for him. And he's about to get an insane amount of work in the best offense in football.
I think, it's funny seeing the two different realms on the fantasy football Twitter universe saying, you still have the CEH haters. It's so funny. I was thinking about that today. I'm like, the haters of CEH next year, after he is like, he finishes as like a top 8 back, they're all going to just line up to draft him.
Probably.
And I'm like, people are just so stupid. I understand your opinion, but don't like a running back on the best offense in football that was drafted in the first round. You have to respect that.
Yeah.
So what was interesting about this is that the reason why I was personally backtracking, I think I retweeted myself from a take that I tweeted 3 days earlier that I was backtracking on CEH, and now that's completely erased from history.
Right.
But the reason I was nervous is because, a lot of I've been tempted to take some rookie wide receivers in the later rounds this year, Justin Jefferson, Denzel Mims, some guys that could actually get some opportunity year one, maybe be the Terry McLaurin. And it's just hard to do this particular year because of COVID. It's going to take players a lot, rookie, wide receivers, running backs, tight ends, quarterbacks, whatever it may be, a little bit longer to acclimate to the pro game because they don't have any practice preseason games to get used to it. They're just getting thrown right into the water. So I was nervous about CEH earning opportunity. Damien Williams is when it comes to earning his role, he's a monster at it, and he's very, very good at earning a spot on a roster. So I thought Damien Williams might have an opportunity to kind of carve out a role in that team that would take reps away from Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I still thought he was going to finish with 170 to 190 fantasy points, but I was starting to think he's not like that exciting to me because of those variables, not just that, but it's also like, I don't know. All of the running backs are drafted in situations, all of the rookie running backs are essentially drafted into situations this year with a guy that is in front of them. So I thought Clyde was going to get that role, but I was just getting more and more nervous because if he didn't get then you would be out a third round pick essentially. Does the risk equal the reward at that point? Well, now Damien Williams opts out. Clyde becomes a first round pick automatically, which is ridiculous to me. Like I'm hoping that people in our league don't really draft Clyde in the first round, but
he'll probably go in the first round.
Yeah.
In most leagues.
But anyway, so the big thing that I do want to, I'm excited. You're excited. Let's just really for a second, name the running backs that you rank ahead of Clyde right now.
So I've been going back and forth with this, looking at the list. I think we both have some guys. I think McCaffrey, Barkley should be ahead of him. I think for me, Zeke and Kamara are ahead of him. I'd probably put Dalvin Cook ahead of him.
Okay.
But then
the kicker.
He might be number 6. Like in PPR leagues, I think
a lot of people are ranking him ahead of Derrick Henry.
I think I have him ahead of Henry too.
So
it's close though.
I'll do this. I'm gonna say CMC Barkley, Zeke, Cook, Kamara, Henry, and then Clyde.
It's hard.
I'm having a hard time too because I still like Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
So I'm like, dude,
I'm a Nick Chubb
Miles Sanders or Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's very close.
I'm probably taking Clyde.
So here's
but it's close.
Here's what I was thinking about today because with all the excitement surrounding Clyde Edwards-Helaire and the stupid Twitter explosion of people who actually really, really like this guy, I love Clyde. We both love Clyde from the beginning, but I like to temper excitement when it comes to certain players. Sure. So I was looking at some of the statistics about, Chiefs running backs in the past, and or in particular Andy Reid running backs in the past, and I just wanted to go over the sample size of the last 2 years with Patrick Mahomes to see what kind of opportunity the starting running back got in the passing game, because this is a big argument with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Everyone's talking about how he's going to get an absurd amount of pass catching work, and that he might not be big enough to reach the Kareem Hunt 270, rushes. He might only be able to reach 240 in his rush totals, but he's going to get targeted so much in that offense, right? That he's just going to garner 300 touches that way, and he's going to get 60 catches. I don't think that Patrick Mahomes has never had a running back catch more than, I want to say, 40 passes in a season in the 2 years that he started for the Chiefs. Kareem Hunt was pacing out when he left that team. He was pacing out at about 38 catches. Damien Williams, I think, he was pacing at like 34 catches. So that kind of leaves me a little bit concerned, because they have, and this is what I was thinking about, because like I said, everyone's talking about how Clyde's going to get the target share, right? Like you would think that too, right?
Yeah.
Clyde's going to get the target share. Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, Mia Cole Hardman. You still got Sammy Watkins there, right? Even though we think Sammy Watkins is going to be a garbage can. I mean, I don't know. I haven't decided on Sammy Watkins yet, but you got a lot of targets to feed there.
Sure.
And I think that there's opportunity in the passing game for Clyde. I think he'll probably get 60 targets and catch 45 passes, and he's a better receiving back than Kareem Hunt, which is saying a lot, at least as of right now.
He's probably one of the best receiving backs that come out of college in a long time.
Yeah, so I think that fits what they do well, and I think he's going to benefit from that. But I just don't know how much target share he's gonna demand early in the season. And if he doesn't demand that, like Mike Wright from the Fantasy Footballers, I was listening to him today, and he was saying that he would not be surprised if he saw 60 or 70 catches, go Clyde's way. And I'm like, I was doing my projections, and I was looking back at the past, and I'm like, where do we see the 60 targets, 70 targets coming from? I don't see where it's coming from.
What I'll say is last year, Damien Williams had 37 targets and 30 catches. And then LaShawn McCoy also had 34 targets and 28 catches.
So if you just consolidate them down, it could be...
I think Clyde can be the combination of those two. Like, he can get the same amount of targets as those two players combined. I'm just throwing to the running back position.
Yeah.
I think he's going to get that kind of work. And that would put him at around 58 to 60 receptions. So that's the answer for me.
Yeah.
And even if you're right, though, like, let's say he only gets like 45 catches. He's going to be really efficient with them.
He's still like 8 or 9.
With Andy Reid's play calling ability, we could see a lot of screens that go like 30, 40 yards.
Yeah. So the big issue that I do have, though, is just the fact that if let's just say he gets a little bit more than Kareem Hunt's, target share when Kareem Hunt was on the Chiefs, right? Or a little more than the Damien Williams target share. And he does reach 40 catches or 45 to 50 catches, and he reaches that total. And he gets maybe 230, 240 rushes on the ground. What does that give you? 280 touches? Even if he does that, right, everything for him is going to come down to, like you said, efficiency, which is not going to be a problem. I think he's going to be a top 7 back. But the big issue that I see is that when you're drafting in fantasy football, you want to draft for upside. Right now, people are saying that Clyde is you just said Clyde's your 6th running back. I just said Clyde's like my 7th or 8th running back.
He's 6 or 7 probably. I'll have to do the rankings.
If you had to place your entire savings account betting on where you think Clyde would finish, where do you think he's going to finish among running backs in 2020?
It's going to be low end RB1 probably, like between 6 and 10.
So for me, this is where I'm kind of at, is that if I'm at 8, 9, 10, and I'm taking Clyde Edwards-Helaire off the board as the 7th running back, and he ends up at the 7th running back, I'm drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire at his ceiling, or I'm drafting Clyde Edwards-Helaire at his floor, I should say. So the big thing is how much, if he ends up doing what we think he's going to do, and he only ends up as the running back, 6 or 7, then we're drafting him exactly where he's supposed to be. And, we are getting the chance of him being a top 4 running back. But I think the risk is far higher than the first round pick reward that you're getting. I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at right now. Like if he was an early second round pick, I would be all over it. And maybe I'm just complaining about 5 spots, but like get your guy. I don't care if you draft him 5 spots early, but
so let's say you're sitting at the 10th pick. You're not taking Clyde.
It depends on who else is on the board.
You taking Joe Mixon over Clyde?
No. But it would be tough for me to look at Nick Chubb and Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs is on Oakland, and that's what draws me back from him so much. He had 298 paced out carries last year, and they said they're going to expand his workload. And I'm like, in the passing game. And I'm like, I love Josh Jacobs, but I'm confused on Clyde. I love Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I would spend a first round pick on him in the late first round. So I'm not telling people not to. I'm just not a guy that really I liked him in the second round and the third round. I'm kind of nervous about drafting him in the first because what if in the off chance Clyde just craps himself?
Right.
And he's just not good. Then you spent a first round pick on an unknown guy when you could have gotten Nick Chubb, you could have gotten Josh Jacobs, you could have gotten even Miles Sanders. And it's like, I love Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'll probably draft him. I'll probably draft him on a million of my teams, as redraft season or draft season. The last July episode is today. So draft month is next episode. But I just look at Clyde and I see him like the realm of outcomes for him. He's a lock top 12 running back. He'll probably finish 8 to 10, but he has a ceiling of top 3.
Especially in PPR leagues. So like I said, I bring up Mike Wright earlier. Mike Wright was talking about how he could be similar to Christian McCaffrey. And I'm like, if he gets the passing work that this guy's talking about, I'm on board. I just don't know if that passing work's coming year 1. But then again, Patrick Mahomes never had a running back that can receive like Clyde. Right.
So it's a giant game of guesswork, like fantasy football always is. Predictions. But I'm just trying to decide, do I want Clyde in the later first round?
If I'm sitting at the end of the first round and he's on the board, I'm taking. I at this point I'm fully invested into Clyde, and if he stinks, I'll just accept it.
So if you're at pick 7, right?
Okay.
And 6 straight running backs came off the board. And let's just assume that Derrick Henry goes ahead of Clyde.
Sure.
And you're left on the board with Clyde or Michael Thomas. Who are you taking?
I'd probably take, 10 team or 12 team?
Let's just say 12.
That makes it harder. Because I was going to say if it's 10 team, I would have taken probably Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
I can get like a Nick Chubb or Joe Mixon or
in the second,
Miles Sanders
if it's
in
a
the
10
second
team,
round.
Yeah.
But in 12 team, you might not be able to get that. So I might take Clyde.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I mean,
my opinion might change
at the turn, if you're at pick 7, you might be able to get like Kenyon Drake as your first running back.
Sure.
That's a little risky, but I feel like there's equal risk between Clyde and Kenyon Drake, though. Like Clyde, Kenyon Drake, Miles Sanders, love them all. I would love to take all 3 of them.
All very risky, though.
All very risky. Is there a chance that 2 out of 3 of them work out? Yes.
I think, 2 out of 3 of them will work out, and then one of them's
just gonna. And I hate to say it because I love Kenyon Drake a lot, and I think he's gonna do great this year. But I think if there was one guy that doesn't perform the way that we anticipated, probably it'd be Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
I think Clyde and Sanders are probably going to be. Sanders all depends on whether Devonta Freeman signs with the Eagles at some point. But anyway. Right. So that's that. Those are my thoughts on Clyde. I don't know if I'm crazy or not. I just like to temper excitement because I think
that's true. Yeah.
In 3 weeks, people are gonna come away from this and they're gonna look back on the Clyde hype and they're gonna be like, ugh. Do I really want to draft him ahead of Nick Chubb and Josh Jacobs?
I don't know how I'm gonna feel about that in a week.
Yep.
My opinions might change.
See, I just got there. I got there a whole day ahead. I mean, a whole week ahead of everyone else.
Yeah. It's
not for some.
I
the
really
Clyde
like
haters.
Clyde. I do, but
yeah,
Chubb and Derrick Henry and Mixon. Like, he's in that tier for sure, and Miles Sanders.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's hard.
Like, I was
really
playing
hard
with the projections, bro, and I was just doing some range of outcomes. And one range, I don't think it's possible, but one range had him at 295 fantasy points. And that's just, you can't pass up on that, especially as a late first round pick. Like, what I'm finding this year with the late first round is that, and last year even, I think you took James Conner in your first round last year.
I did. 12th overall or 10th overall.
Like, he didn't work out for you. He wasn't bad last year when he was on the field, but he just didn't work out. And the hard part with the late round is that you got to find that feature running back. And there's so many different options and so much potential at the back end of the first round. But realistically, only one or two guys are going to work out. So you have to find the one or two guys that are going to work out. I just don't want to be stuck with Clyde Edwards-Helaire not working out this year, and I could have taken Miles Sanders and he ends up like Christian McCaffrey. I don't know.
I mean, last year in our home league, I think I took James Conner 10, Julio 11, and then I think the 12th or 13th pick ended up being Damien Williams. So that's two running backs right there, like the back end, the first round, top of the second, that did not work out. So you do kind of have to be careful.
Yeah, but those are our Clyde thoughts.